Hello and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar on Oracle's Manufacturing Cloud. My name is Nina. I am the Alliance Development Executive with Jade Global, and I'll be moderating today's session. Today's speaker is Manoj Rathi. He is the SCM and ERP SaaS Practice Lead here at Jade Global. He is a certified supply chain professional, SC and OP, and Six Sigma certified. He's given over 15 presentations at OAUGs and Oracle conferences across the country. Next slide. And looking at today's agenda, we'll first tell you a little bit about Jade Global, then I'll hand it off to Manoj to discuss the top features offered by cloud manufacturing, the wows and the gaps, costs, a live demo, summary, and then followed by the Q&A session. Next slide. But about Jade, we are Oracle Platinum Cloud Standard partners. We're into advisory, integration, testing, cloud and consulting services, business solutions, and IT outsourcing. We're headquartered in San Jose, California, with offices in Philadelphia, San Diego, Atlanta, Reading, UK, Pune, Noida, and Hyderabad, India. And for more information, you can visit us at jadeglobal.com. Next slide. As mentioned, Jade is an Oracle Platinum partner, and we have various specializations in applications ranging from supply chain management to business intelligence and HFM. We also have specific industry specializations in finance, high tech, manufacturing, life sciences, among others. And we are cloud specialized in finance, procurement, planning and budgeting, and business intelligence. Next slide. Jade's Oracle team is made up of over 300 professionals worldwide. We have the following Oracle training and certifications on cloud and have received various awards and recognition for speaking engagements at workshops and conferences, including Oracle Open World. Next slide. And now I'll hand it over to Manoj, who will walk you through today's session.
Hey, thanks, Nina.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. This is Manoj. Nice to have you here and excited to present some of the cool features of Oracle Manufacturing Cloud and to take you through the journey of understanding what is available in Oracle Manufacturing Cloud and what are the gaps and what are some of the cool features that you don't see in the EBS or other on-prem applications that you might be using. So we will go over this presentation in about 30 minutes, followed by a Q&A session. So first of all, what has Oracle released in Manufacturing Cloud? So I'll just do a brief cap on what they have, what features are available. So it's primarily only discrete manufacturing that is available. They don't have any other kind of manufacturing in there yet, like lot-based manufacturing or process manufacturing. Those are not there yet. Although discrete manufacturing can take care of some of these features. We'll go over some of those later in the presentation. What they have is ability to define your bill of material, which in cloud they now call it product structures. And it is defined in PIM module instead of having a separate BOM module. Work order definitions, which is the equivalent or the equivalent terminology for routings and resources. So the way we used to define routings in Oracle EBS, it's an equivalent functionality available called work order definitions, where you can basically take your routings and also while defining the work orders definitions, you can also associate the real requirements to each of the operations, the resource requirements to each of the operations within that routing. And it's an interactive graphical user interface as compared to the forms-based one that we had in Oracle EBS. They have released work orderless completion, which will satisfy the basic functionality of flow manufacturing environment or line manufacturing environment, although it's not highly feature rich yet. They have contract manufacturing flow, which which is fit for a turnkey kind of manufacturing with your supplier. And it's available through advanced fulfillment, what they call as supply chain orchestration process, through which you can actually route your sales orders directly to your vendors or to your suppliers for those turnkey products, and do a drop ship directly from there. Either a drop ship, or you can have a receive and ship kind of flow. So there is a tight integration with order entry and fulfillment already built in the current release. Integrations are available with Cloud Planning Central. So on the Planning Central side, it's primarily the supply chain planning side, which is available in the current release, which is release 12. They have Oracle has already published the release content document for release 13 of Oracle Cloud ERP, and within that, I mean, we'll go over the release 13, what features are available later in the presentation. Also, they have a number of web services for third-party integrations or any other system integrations that you may have, like integrating with your MES or other shop floor systems you may have. And exception reporting is really exceptional in cloud. So that's what are available. I mean, the exception reporting, the way they have defined it is, I mean, you can actually take those and navigate. It's a guided navigation, so you can basically see what is that you're supposed to do today, and then how you can flow to those transactions and process those transactions. So it's a very nice way of guiding users through their workday. Moving on, it's important for us to understand what is the overall application footprint available within Oracle Cloud, which is integrated with Oracle Manufacturing Cloud. So as I mentioned earlier, in order management, order entry, scheduling, and fulfillment is fully released in cloud. We have used it for some other customers, and it is working pretty well. I mean, there are some minor gaps here and there, some enhancements that we suggested Oracle would do. But generally, I mean, order management and its integration with manufacturing is working very well. Inventory management, that has been there for a long time now, and it's working really well. I mean, we haven't seen any problems there. Planning Central is there. Procurement. I'm hearing some noise. Okay, thank you. So Planning Central, where supply and demand planning, IBP, so integrated business planning or SNOP. So those things are already available. I think SNOP is getting released in release 13, but it will be pretty close. Procurement, purchasing, and self-service procurement, supplier portal, contract management. So all the purchasing modules are there. For manufacturing purpose, if you look at it, yeah, so self-service procurement and purchasing and supplier portal, probably these three would be important, and they are working pretty well at this point, pretty mature products. Product lifecycle management and master data management on the product side. So those have been released, they are working fine, and Oracle is rapidly enhancing the features in those modules. So what did I like about Oracle Manufacturing Cloud? What are some of the cool features? So first of all, I mean, if you remember, or if you are already doing it in Oracle EBS, the routing creation, it's not as pretty user interface as the new millennials or the new generation would like it to be. What Oracle has done is they have created a drag and drop kind of functionality, so you can basically look at your objects, operations, and you can look at your bill of material or product structure that they call, and basically use a drag and drop feature to basically build your work definition. That's a very cool feature. Mobile, so all the user interfaces, Oracle is trying to basically release them with inherent mobile applications for which even manufacturing is having its own mobile version for the UI. Dashboards with drill downs to tasks and individual objects. That's a very cool feature. I liked it. So when you go to your home page, you see what you are supposed to do today. So there is a guided navigation. It's showing exceptions. Very nice color combinations used in that home page. So it's really pretty. Exception handling, as I said, you can very clearly see the exceptions in your manufacturing process and drill down from the home page to the exceptions and take care of them. And of course, I mean, with the drill down, there is one more feature available, which is social platform. So you can basically connect with your colleagues or with your reportees and get things done very fast. I mean, communicate them about the problem, get their uh, feedback on it, get their input or what action plan they have for resolving those problems. So those are really cool features. And as I said, web services for integrations and REST APIs. So they have released for manufacturing. So for most of the manufacturing process, actually you can have it touchless if you are using MES or some other system as your source system for manufacturing execution. So this is what I was telling you about the work order definition screen. So you can see how cool it is. Very intuitive and very nice using a drag and drop feature. So you see routing is called as work order definition now. BOM is called as product structure. All the material requirements and resource requirements, the terminology on those two are same. But you can see here, I mean, how pretty it looks like. Also, another thing they have is work orderless completions, which is already released and it's available. So you can basically refer to your work order definition. You can have multiple definitions, but you can refer to one of them and basically complete a particular quantity for an assembly. And also you can process scrap through that process. And it's very tightly integrated with costing. So we will spend some more time on costing later in the presentation, and I'll explain you what are some of the features I loved in costing cloud. Advanced fulfillment, as I said, you can do your service purchases, contract manufacturer component movements, and reporting is pretty good in advanced fulfillment. So basically, there is a direct link between your work order and procurement, also your sales order, work order, and procurement. They are very tightly integrated in terms of advanced fulfillment. Seamless integration with Planning Central and with the financial, like cost accounting and also receipt accounting. So it's very tightly integrated. Moving on. So this is just a screenshot of what you would expect in the mobile screens and in the analytics, as I was telling you, right, the home page, how it would look like and how you can basically manage your manufacturing execution through exception handling. So you go and find out what you have to do today, which things are in red, and how you can basically quickly resolve those things. So what I wanted to do here is take you through some of the screenshots of kind of a mock demo of how a manufacturing operation would look like, what we would do in Oracle Cloud, or kind of like a day in the life of a production supervisor or manager. So basically, creating work definition, as I said, you can use you define the assembly, or you pick the assembly and you take this structure, whether it's primary or secondary or whatever alternate name you gave to the structure, and then you can also give a name to the work definition. So you can define multiple work definitions for an assembly, and of course there are some like versioning and priority and start date. So those features are there. You can basically define what operations you want to add to that work definition. You can see that here. And you can define those operations, whether you want them to be referenced or you want them, I mean, the referenced field will basically tell you whether you have the resource already attached. I mean, the attached resource to that operation you want to pick up for this particular work order definition that you can do. And then you can also pick whether it's a count point or whether you want to automatically transact that operation. So you can do all that, and also whether you want to start serialization at this operation. So that's a very cool feature. I mean, you can basically use a serialized manufacturing and decide which operation you want to start serialization. Then this work order definition. So once you tell which operations you want to include in your work order definition, you will come here and basically assign the material and resource requirements at this point using a drag and drop feature. So you can basically tell which item structure. So you already told it which item structure, but you can tell here which operation you will issue the material to. Or if you are using a backflush or operation pool kind of material issue method, then you can basically tell the system which operation you want to backflush that material. Okay, so this is a screenshot of how it will look like. How the operation would have items and resources attached to it. I'm going back, so this is where you see only the operations. Here you see the items and resources attached to an operation. Then, I mean, once you are done with creating the work order definition, then you will basically create a work order, which is, if you are relating it to the EBS terminology, this is where you will, you are creating a discrete job, basically, a job definition. So when you create the work order, you can tell whether what's the status, whether you want to create it is in release status or unreleased status. When do you want to start? When do you want to complete? Quantity, all that good stuff. And then it basically will bring up all the work order definition information here for you to look at, and you can basically do the transactions from here. So after that, I mean, generally you would release, if you have not created work order in release status, then you would come and release the work order for execution purpose on the shop floor. You will go transact the operation. So here, I mean, I'm just showing how it would look like. So basically, you see, if I jump on my home page for manufacturing, what I see here is how many have completed, what are ready to be complete or scheduled to be complete. I can basically click those bars, and it will take me to that particular transaction, and I can process the transaction there. So here you can see basically it's showing me the dispatch list, and based on the dispatch list, I mean, I can pick which operations I want to complete and complete those operations. I have an option of putting scrap or reject quantity here. So one thing I want to bring up here, and you might have a question around how do I capture my quality results. So Oracle in release 12, they have not released the quality features or quality functionality, but in the upcoming release, which is release 13, quality module is being released, and you will be able to capture your quality results at this point. Let's jump on to costing side. So before I jump onto the actual transaction costing, just want to let you know that costing in Fusion Cloud application, it's way, I mean, Oracle has enhanced it a lot compared to what EBS had. So in EBS, you were very strictly limited to selecting one cost method, whether it's standard, average, or FIFO, for a particular inventory organization. Also, I mean, your inventory organization was very tightly linked to your costing organization. I mean, there was only one organization, right? Every inventory organization was its own costing organization. So that feature had a lot of limitations. Whereas in cloud, what Oracle has released right now is what they call a granularity or rule-based costing method. So you can basically decide whether you want to cost a particular item using standard costing, another item using average cost, third item may use a FIFO costing. So you have a lot of flexibility around here. So for example, I can, let's say, use my A-class items. I may use actual costing, where I just do first in, first out. And also I can go at a serial level. So I can cost each serial number separately in this application, which was really tough, or I mean, it was not available as a standard feature in EBS. So that's really cool. And one of our customer where we implemented Oracle Cloud recently, Cloud ERP. So we were able to use this feature for them where they were costing at a lot level. So they were using actual cost, but actual cost at lot level. So every lot had its own cost, and that really helped them understand their profitability at the lot level. Which lot they were able to get profit, which lots they were, I mean, they had less profit or loss, basically. So that was a very cool feature that they really liked, and I basically liked it a lot. So what you do once you are, so here one more thing, I mean, the costing side, and I have some slides, but I'm jumping ahead of that. So on the costing side, you have concept of cost organization and inventory organization. Now there are two different organizations that you define. So you can have one cost organization cover your multiple inventory organizations. Let me give an example. Let's say if in North America I want to basically capture all my costs under one cost organization, because I have a centralized financial team, a centralized cost controller who is overlooking all the plants and warehouses maybe. So in that case, I can just define one cost organization, and I will associate, let's say, my 10 shop floors or warehouses to that one cost organization. So you can basically close your books just in one cost organization and you are done. All your reporting can happen at that one cost organization level. So this is really cool feature and very efficient. I mean, I have seen in my life, in my consulting life, that always finance and operations, they would be at loggerheads. They would be fighting with each other over how they want to define their organizations, inventory organizations. Finance would try to limit them to as few as possible, whereas operations would like to basically define each location as a separate inventory organization, which is true. I mean, that's how it should be, but it creates an overhead on finance then when they close the books. So it used to create a lot of friction between these two departments, and with this with the modified costing configurations within Oracle Cloud, that limitation is completely gone now. So finance can decide how they want to do their financial orchestration and how they want to define their costing rules, costing books, costing organizations, and they can live with it. Another cool feature is you can have multiple cost books for the same cost organization. So you can parallelly run standard cost, first in, first out, or average costing for the same cost organization, which will cover the same set of inventory organizations in this case. And that would, sorry, I'm hearing some noise. So that would basically help you compare what would happen if you use average costing versus, let's say, FIFO or first in, first out cost. And you can basically, let's say, use one for your compliance reporting and the other one for your management reporting. So that gives you a lot of flexibility, which I really liked in Fusion Cloud. So moving on, so basically once you do your transactions, you just run a process to transfer all your transactions to costing. You do that, and then you tell the system to also create costing distributions. You complete those, and then you would be able to see your distribution. So there are like two programs that you just run, or you can schedule them as frequently as you would like, and then you can get the distributions created for your work order. Also, I mean, that works also for inventory and receiving, but here we will limit it to work orders. So you can create those, or you can go view them. I have shown just a screenshot of some of the work order distributions, web distributions that you would see. How you could see that resource charging and completion of the work order could be costed. So you can see, like, again, you have the same concept of different valuation sub-elements. You can use them and see your values under those different sub-elements. Which is called cost element again, as in EBS. I think we saw this resource charge earlier. And you can drill down to, let's say, one of those resource charge lines and see all the distributions. So here, basically, you would see the debit in the WIP valuation and credit to the resource absorption account. And I just wanted to point out, so you can have overheads also defined. So here you could see the cost element for resource charge. You can have different, one going to labor, the other one going to resource overhead, or your labor overhead. Moving on, so again, as in EBS, there is a process to close the work orders, which will basically take all your residual value in the work order after completion. It will take all the residual value in the work order and move it to the variance account. Very similar process as in EBS. So that basically completes the demo part of it, where we looked at the work order definition. How do you define a work order, and how do you create a work order and transact it would come under work order, work execution. So work definition, work execution, and then followed by costing. So work definition, I would say it's master data. Work execution, it's all your transactions, and costing obviously is the subsequent or downstream transactions, taking it all to your financials. So coming back to, between the on-prem EBS version and the cloud version, what has changed? So primarily I have seen terminology. They have changed a lot of names. Just trying to be current with what the industry is using. Look and feel of the UI. So I think this is a great change. They have improved it a lot compared to what we have in EBS. Dashboards and reporting with OTBI. So those features are really rich now. We have seen some dashboards, right? How you can drill down, and also there is very extensive reporting option available in online transactional business intelligence is what we call it, OTBI. That's the reporting platform they have. So they have basically provided all the fields that you can drag and drop in a report and just run your report. And this is so user friendly, even some savvy users can go in and create their own reports and run them. So really cool feature there. Work order costing, definitely a lot better than EBS. More granularity available in your costing, more flexibility. And you can be more compliant using the Fusion costing compared to EBS costing, because I've seen with EBS costing, just to comply with the regulatory requirements, you have to do your ENOs, LCMs, variance analysis, so all that you have to do, and then book GL entries, whereas in this case, if you are really keeping it at a granular level, you can actually try and book your or manage those cost variations directly in the subledger. So a lot of options available. Reporting is definitely better. Document printing, they have provided really cool document printing features. So your labels and other things you can print from the system. I am hearing some noise, so if you're not talking, please, if you can put yourself on mute. So mobility out of box. So earlier, I mean, for mobility, you had to license another product or go and build your own apps, but now it's available out of box. So what are the big gaps? I mean, it's still not fully matured yet. All the features are not in there yet. The biggest gap I saw was outside processing. So that feature is not available yet. And the integrations between purchasing and manufacturing, they are not very tight. The outside processing especially. Lot-based manufacturing is not fully available yet. So like if you are using lot-based manufacturing, if you are doing splits in your lots in the manufacturing process, that is not available. Process manufacturing, it's not there yet, and they don't even have it in the roadmap. And quality, although they have released it in release 13, in release 12 it's not available yet, so there is still a gap. I think once they make release 13 generally available, quality would be available. Coming to costing, I think I already mentioned this, but now you have separate cost and inventory organization that gives you much more flexibility and reduces friction between finance and operations. Option to use multiple parallel cost books with different costing methodologies, so you can have your management reporting as well as compliance reporting satisfied with two different sets of cost books. And once you do the configurations, it's just running some reports after that. So very nice feature. Decoupled management and compliance. Okay, that's what I just said. And faster period close. I think period close would be really fast in cloud because there are a lot of things you can do ahead of time, a lot of things that you would get inherently from the system, and also you can consolidate your period close at the cost organization level instead of inventory organization level. So that will make it really fast, and you can centralize that operation if required. If you are moving from EBS to cloud or maybe another on-prem application to cloud, what general data migrations you will have to take care of, I've seen happening in the industry. First of all, I mean your items, your products and product structures. So those are really important ones in terms of master data. Work centers, work areas. So those are equivalents of your departments. You have resources that you will probably migrate. Work definitions you will have to migrate. Item costs you will migrate, and you will probably also do roll-ups on some of your item cost if you are using standard costing. If you are using actual or FIFO, then you probably don't even have to import item cost, because when you import your open work orders or open on-hand inventory, when you bring it in, you can just associate the right cost with it, and it will automatically cost it for you. Open work orders, I will have a question mark there. I mean, generally I've seen bringing in an open work order really creates challenges, and you generally would have to mimic all the transactions that you do, that you have done for a particular work order. You'll have to mimic them again in the new system. So my suggestion generally would be to basically go back, close the work order in the earlier system, and bring the material, the components that were issued, bring them in, issue them to the work order, and then process the work order forward, and basically book everything to a particular account and then change. So we can discuss about that as we get into details. But these are some of the data migrations that you will probably need, and Also here, important thing to note is there are two ways you can do this. One is Oracle has provided what we call spreadsheet uploads. So they have given some templates. You can put the data in those templates and upload those templates, and it will basically create the data for you. So that comes really handy. So even for some kind of integrations, let's say if you have to do with your MES or other system once a day, somebody can just download the data in a particular format and upload it back. It will help you automatically process all those transactions. Or you can use web services for automated integration, touchless integration. But you will have to use some kind of integration platform to basically build that integration and call these web services and process the data. And also you'll have to build something to handle the exceptions. So as I was telling you about the gaps, the primary gaps that I have seen, process manufacturing I'm not showing here. I mean, I'm just calling it as a gap, and I don't see Oracle's plan yet to release process manufacturing in cloud. But the other ones I have seen Oracle talking about releasing these features. So outside processing, they have already released in release 13, which is not generally available right now, but it's going to be sometime soon, in maybe next 3-4 months. Currently, I mean, we are looking at November timeframe for release 13. Quality integrations are again released in release 13. I do not expect them to be very mature at this point, but I think by release 14, by let's say Feb of next year, this quality integrations or the quality module within manufacturing would be really stable and mature by that time. Lot-based manufacturing, they do not have it yet, and I haven't seen their concrete plan on which release it's coming out. And flow manufacturing, although it's not there, I mean, you can use it with limited features using the orderless completions.